Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I want to talk about 3 players who hurt their Hall of Fame chances this year. Every single year, we have players who perform really well, and they're like, man, this guy could be a Hall of Famer, like Paul Goldschmidt. And we have players who perform really poorly, and you're like, oh man, their Hall of Fame odds are looking bleak as they missed a prime year in the middle of their career. Things like that, poor performance, injuries, all these different things can really derail baseball players' careers. I bet there are dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of players who would have been Hall of Famers, but they had injuries in some form really destroy their careers. So in this video, I want to look at some players who are either underachieving, injured, all these different things, who had a season this year that can definitely be forgotten, and it may have hurt their Hall of Fame chances. So let's jump into it pretty quick. So these are 3 pitchers, and these 3 pitchers, these are all their stats through their age 29 season. And I want you to pick the pitcher you think is best. Number 1, we have this pitcher, 100 wins, 103 wins. He has 1,800 strikeouts and an ERA plus of 144, really good. This next pitcher, he has 91 wins, and then he has 1,300 strikeouts and an ERA plus of 117, not bad, still above league average. And this last pitcher, we have 124 wins, that's really good. And then we see strikeouts about less than 1,500, ERA plus of 128. So between those other 2, which pitcher would you take? If it was me, through these points in their career, I'm either taking this pitcher or this pitcher, and probably leaning into this one because his ERA plus is so good, strikeout totals are so high, but that would have been the wrong choice. That is Chris Sale through age 29. Then we have Max Scherzer through age 29 and Justin Verlander through age 29. I know it might not be a fair comparison because these other pitchers are performing really well in their late 20s and early 30s, while Chris Sale has not. But that's the point of this video. Chris Sale has not been good for a while, since 2019, and he was on pace to be a Hall of Famer. And I know that sounds drastic, but by the time he was this age, he was already putting up really big numbers. 42.5 WAR heading into his age 30 season, already through age 29. All he had to do was have a decent 30s, and he has a really good chance of getting the Hall of Fame, and he has not even really pitched since this time of his career. Let's look at his stats. This year, he's been worth 0.0 WAR. He came back from injury, and I think the second or third game, he had a comeback or line drive, broke his hand, out for the year. Sucks so bad. He had Tommy John surgery, missed all of 2020. He came back in 2021, pitched 9 games, did pretty well, 3.16 ERA, not a bad year whatsoever, but then he got hurt again, and he was out the rest of the year, and then he's been out until basically the middle of this year, pitched 2 games, broke his hand, out again. So that's 3 prime years for Chris Sale that are now gone. This was a big year for him to see if he could really get it back, do well, and if he could, then maybe he is on that Hall of Fame path once again, but he's sitting at 45.5 WAR after his age 33 season, when he was sitting at 42.5 WAR after his age 29 season. That's his age 30, 31, 32, and 33 seasons, kind of just down the drain. And that's what's really hurt Chris Sale. He's been one that people have really speculated on. His cards have been expensive, and it might come back to bite some. I really was speculating on him heading into this season before he got hurt again, so it really sucks because I thought he could be a bounce back candidate. He has 2,064 strikeouts right now. He still has an outside chance at 3,000, but even that's unlikely. Again, he had almost 2,000 strikeouts at age 29. So we thought he could easily get there, and now we're at this point. His 3-year projections from Fangraphs have him only getting 310 strikeouts the next 3 years, not that impressive, and only worth about 6-ish WAR. So that's not going to get to the Hall of Fame, and I think it really hurts his cards. So up to you. I still think he has a chance, but it's less probable than ever because of this year. Here's some Chris Sale cards, what they just sold for: Bowman Chrome True Blue BGS 9.5. Either someone paid a really good price for this, or, you know, that hurts. The seller probably took a big loss. Bowman Chrome 9.510 autograph went for $66. Unfortunate for Chris Sale. Next up, who is this player? This is this player through their age 27 season. 35.7 WAR. He has a OPS plus of 147. He has 267 home runs by age 27. You might be thinking this guy is definitely on the way to the Hall, and if you actually look who that player is now, that is Giancarlo Stanton. That was through his age 27 season when he won the MVP with the Miami Marlins, and ever since then, he's been fine, but he has not been an MVP player. He had MVP votes in his first year with the Yankees. He's had injury issues ever since, and he can't stay healthy. He did make it to the All-Star game this year, won an All-Star game MVP, having a decent first half before injury again, and now he's just really fallen off the map. His OPS plus this year is 115. That's not good. This is supposed to be one of his last prime years, technically. He missed basically his age 30, 31, 32 prime years, actually 29 through 32 because of injury and just poor performance. I know his 2021 was a pretty good year. We can see that he did have an 870 OPS, 136 OPS plus, but regardless, it's not what you expect from the guy putting up this number and all these big, huge OPS plus seasons, and that's what he needed to do. He's a primary bat first, not a speed guy. Decent outfielder, actually. The Yankees don't utilize him enough there, maybe because they're trying to keep him healthy, but he has had a major impact on his cards. If we had a player today who had these numbers through his age 27 season, we'd be putting so much money into his cards. And that's kind of what happened with Stanton. The Yankees unfortunately picked Stanton instead of Bryce Harper or Manny Machado, both of which Bryce Harper won an MVP, and Manny Machado's having the best year of his career this year. They really could use both those players, but they picked Stanton instead. You never could have predicted this after the massive 2017 that he did have. So Stanton, not doing so high. His cards still hold a decent price compared to other players who've kind of had a slow part of their career. I think he still has a chance at the 500 home run club because he does currently have 373 home runs. I'd be shocked if he didn't get to 500 home runs. We'll have to see that with around 50 to 55 WAR is enough to get into the Hall of Fame. I'm guessing probably not because we look at Fred McGriff. He's not in there. Probably similar. OPS plus probably higher for Stanton, but for actual power numbers and batting average, probably pretty similar to Fred McGriff. And it could be pretty tough for someone like that to get to the Hall of Fame off of those numbers alone. Here's his cards again. So still pretty expensive. If you want to speculate in Stanton, that's totally understandable, but I'm personally not. The last player on this list was basically a Hail Mary when it comes to trying to buy somebody heading to the Hall of Fame. As you can see through their age 28 season, they had really good numbers. A 144 OPS plus, 37.7 WAR, basically heading into 40 WAR before his 30s. That's something you want to see, so you can have a decent 30s and still get to the 65-ish WAR threshold. But this player, unfortunately, has not lived up to that type of performance. That player is Angie Mccutchen. You might be wondering, like, why is he on this list? Because he did have an outside chance. If he could have had a good 35, 36, 37, put up 3 to 5 WAR each year, there's still an outside chance, not likely, but there could have been something there. But I wanted to include him for more than just the Hall of Fame odds. He has had a very big decline out of nowhere. And that's probably injury based. I don't know the injury history of Angie Mccutchen because I wasn't as big into this type of speculation on players in 2016 when his decline started, but he went from having a 144 OPS plus, MVP 5th runner-up, 3rd overall, 1st, 3rd, 5th, and he has not had any MVP votes since. He actually had one of his worst years in 2016. This was negative 0.3 WAR. That's really bad, and it's not like he didn't play many games. He still played 153 games, and ever since then, he's just never found it. His highest WAR since is 3, and his best OPS plus season was that same year at the 123 OPS plus. That's not what you want with a player. I remember when Angie Mccutchen was the face of baseball, he had his dreadlocks, he was really awesome with Pittsburgh. I think he led him to the playoffs once. He won a Gold Glove in center field when he won MVP this year prior. You can see he was a 5-tool player. He was stealing all sorts of bases right here. He had 151 home runs, 154 stolen bases. Like, this is a 300 guy, and all this speculation, and then it just fell off the map. And I think that's very common to a lot of players. So I want to show not every player heading into their 40s is going to be a Hall of Fame lock. That's why, even though I have this Jose Ramirez Superfractor rookie card, he might not get there. And it's probably not going to happen, but I took one big speculation chance. But Angie Mccutchen, I thought maybe he could do something this year. If he had a 5 to 6 WAR season, that could put him over 50, and that's definitely get you in the conversation, but he did not. And his cards are basically dead in the water. His Fangraphs Zips 3-year projections have him for about 1 WAR because these cancel out. 0.8 WAR is what it looks like. It's not somebody that you want to have too many cards in. Unless you're an Angie Mccutchen collector, then enjoy, buy all the good cards. You can see his values have really dropped. He does not have a Bowman Chrome autograph, and so this is his best rookie auto, and you can get it for about 50 to 60 bucks. So pretty cool card from a really important player of the era, but not a Hall of Famer. So those are my 3 players who have really disappointed this year and have probably lost their Hall of Fame odds, at least looking at everything in a vacuum right now. I think the one player that could bounce back the most is probably Chris Sale once he comes back from his hand injury, and I think he could have a big year next year, and if he does, that might get him on the pace again because pitchers can sometimes pitch till their late 30s, and if it does, he could be a good opportunity. Same with Stanton, 500 home runs. Mccutchen, not so much. Other than that, let me know in the comments below what you think of these players and what other players you think might have hurt their Hall of Fame odds this year, and I will catch you in the next video.